laptops. I'm sorry I'm on a little bit later today. You know, I'll be on the CP time. And I got lots of things to do. I had a sick kid over the weekend. She tried to give me a little bit of her cold, and I'm trying to fight it back. So it's been a busy morning getting her up and out the door. Now I'm here. I'm here. Got some food on the stove. It's been a busy ass morning, if I'm honest with y'all. But hope y'all enjoy this live. Remember, it's an interactive live. You have an opportunity to interact with me. Put your comments down in the comment section. Usually, the comment chat is always lit, especially after games. So I'm excited about the conversation after the game tonight, where I will be live as well. But all that's to say is, if you haven't already, make sure you smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. I am doing a new thing. So normally, most of y'all are probably familiar. I respond to almost 100% of your comments that you leave after I post a video. I can't do that no more. But if you have subscribed, I am. So if you're a subscriber, I'm going to comment on 100% of your comments after I post the video. So if you're like, hey, Rock, what you think about this? Ross, what you think about that? I'm going to be like, yo, this is what I think. But I have a little tab on there to select that says if you're a subscriber or not. So if you're not a subscriber, I may not get to your response or comment after I post the video. If you are a subscriber, I'm going to get to all of it. Got you. I'm going to get to all of it. I appreciate this community. Appreciate all of y'all showing up in the mornings, showing up in the evenings for this great time talking about our Detroit Pistons. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this game. I went back yesterday. I watched our last game uh, that we played against the Miami Heat. I went back and I watched the last game that the Hawks were recently playing. I think it was against, trying to remember who they were playing. Uh, who were they playing? I was just looking at their lineups and rotations and what it looked like now with Zachary Ricochet. And then I went back and I looked at our game against the Atlanta Hawks about 2 weeks ago. And I'm looking for similarities. I'm looking for things that kind of stand out to me. And I wanted to talk about some of them in this live this morning. Let me just say, Zachary Ricochet is not. He is not Vit Krejci. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Vit Krejci. The one who hit a couple of threes, a few threes down the stretch when the game was somewhat out of reach, kind of gave them kind of like that, March Madness hope, you know. But really, Vit Krejci was not a factor the entire game. Kind of sat in the corner, was very inactive, was not very productive until the very end of the game. Zachary Ricochet is not him. Zachary Ricochet will be somebody we have to pay attention to. We're not going to be able to hide anyone on him. He does an amazing job getting out in transition. He's a movement shooter that's always relocating. Think a taller, more athletic Kevin Huerter. He's a guy that if you turn your back can drop 15 to 20 points. There's only his second season. There's a reason why he was the number one pick in last year's draft. Not to say last year's draft was all that strong, but it's to say there was a reason. I want to point that out because there is going to be dynamics from the first game that I think that we can draw from and say, let's make sure we focus on this. And there's going to be aspects of the last game, along with, well, when I say the last game, I mean the last game between the Detroit Pistons and the Atlanta Hawks that we can draw from. And there's going to be aspects of this more recent game between the Detroit Pistons and the Miami Heat that we can draw from. The first thing I want to say, what up, chat? What up, chat? Appreciate that, Doug. Appreciate that, Doug. It's good to see you in the chat. Sandro, it's good to see you in the chat. Donovan, it's good to see you in the chat. Eating pizza and deciding to watch this. Hey, enjoy your pizza, bro. Hopefully it's New York style. Actually, I had Detroit style deep dish pizza. It's actually kind of fire. Spot right around the corner from me. He says he does authentic Detroit style deep dish pizza. Pretty fire. Let me just say this. Daniss Jenkins repeatedly not only shows up and shows out, many times he's coming to the rescue. Many times he's saving our asses. This last game against the Miami Heat, I always say this. I never really criticize based upon seeing something one time. Rarely ever. I rarely ever. If something happens once, twice, it could just be an anomaly. It could just be like, all right, kind of fluke, you know. Oh, y'all getting on the pizzas already. Yeah, Detroit style is pretty great. Real talk, real talk. What's your favorite pizza topping? I mean, pepperoni's classic, right? It's classic. But I love a good sausage, especially like a spicy sausage. But most of the time, try to go healthy. So I like a good, bell peppers, things like that, mushrooms. Yeah. But I rarely have pizza these days because most of the time I try to stay off dairy and meat. Back to the topic at hand, though. Pizza is always a fun topic, though. Uh, Daniss Jenkins continues to show up as our guy. And I rarely criticize what I'm seeing the first time I see it. So when I make this critique about Cade, I needed to be held that I'm acknowledging his gameplay since his rookie year, since his rookie season. I think it's okay to acknowledge how fantastic Cade Cunningham is as a talent. He's an incredible talent. I compare him to Brandon Roy, who's one of my all-time favorite players. His game is tremendous. And one of the critiques I've often had of Cade Cunningham is the need to conserve energy, not on the defensive end, but on the offensive end. There's a need for him to begin to play in a way that allows him to sustain himself over the course of the game. And that means getting easy looks. And I think we've all seen and agreed that Cade's easiest looks, meaning where he has the most separation, um, the most consistency of making his shots, has repeatedly been when he's scoring around that free throw line and in the paint. And one of the things that I continue to say is that he has to be okay with not always getting to the rim to be able to shoot those little push shots, jump hooks, pull up jumpers, step backs, turnarounds, a little bump and raise up over the top. When he's going to work in the paint, he's absolutely phenomenal. His footwork, um, his touch, his strength, his length, similar to Brandon Roy. And one of the moves that I would love for Cade Cunningham to attain from Brandon Roy is combining his ability to get into the paint, pull up for the little mid range right in the paint, but then at times he would get to the paint off 2 feet and he would pump fake, get the defender in the air, and then step through to get to the rim. And so he always kept defenders guessing in that 5 to 15 foot range. Is he going to pull up? Is he going to pump? Is he going to try to get all the way downhill? But he mixes it up. Go back and watch him in Portland. All right, it's one of my favorite squads to watch. Actually, Portland has a lot of my favorite squads to watch. Whether it was the Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells, Damon Stoudemire, Arvydas Sabonis, and those boys with Scottie Pippen, or the later on Brandon Roy, Andre Miller, um, LaMarcus Aldridge, Greg Oden, and those guys. All to say is watching Brandon Roy's footwork is a thing of beauty. Absolute thing of beauty. Cade could use that, not in terms of can he do it. I think Cade has the footwork. He has incredible footwork. What I think that Cade could use is looking at Brandon Roy's timing, his rhythm, his ability to get out there and to keep his defender guessing and off balance. Right now, I see a lot of the movement that Cade does. I'm not going to say that's unnecessary, but I'm saying that it's not the most efficient. I say all of that to say, all that is to say, is that many times at the end of games, he's gassed. He's gassed. Last game against the Heat, JB finally took him out right before the end of the third. It's like a minute and change left, minute 30 some seconds left. And I was like, okay, improvement. He's taking him out before the end of the third. Previously, before then, it wasn't until the third quarter break going into the fourth. But then I saw him bring him back in the game with like 9 minutes to go in the fourth. And I was like, let's see how this works out. And very quickly, I go, oh, he's still tired. He's still tired. That's where you see Daniss Jenkins run up on him and like, hey, man, come on, let's get in the game. Get focused. And he's trying to get his energy up. And Cade is acknowledging, like, all right, all right, all right, all right. But I was glad I saw that because this is who Daniss Jenkins is. Daniss Jenkins is a leader. He's a leader, naturally. And something that I said recently in a post, and I'll probably check to see if y'all responded to it or not. But I said, Daniss Jenkins is becoming to these Detroit Pistons what Isaiah Stewart is. What Isaiah Stewart is to us. And I know for a lot of us, we've said Isaiah Stewart is our heartbeat. That's our heart. That's our heart all the way through. As he moves, we move. His toughness, his physicality, his intensity, his motor. 100%. Everything that Detroit basketball wants to be. Daniss Jenkins has all that too. Smaller sample size. But when you watch him on the court, oh, it's 100% defensive intensity, all heart, grittiness, toughness, physicality, high motor, and a whole lot of skill on that defensive end as well. I want to read to y'all a comment response that I left to one of my subscribers. He said, actually, I won't be able to look at his. I took a screenshot of just my response. I said, I hear you. But these things I am sold on that parallel Isaiah Stewart completely. Oh, he was responding to my post about Daniss Jenkins and Isaiah Stewart being very similar for us. I said, one, Daniss Jenkins' energy is infectious on this team. His competitiveness combined with awareness and motor amplifies the play of whoever else is playing alongside of him. His toughness and grit combined with those aforementioned traits are the definition of what Detroit basketball is espoused to be. Now, that's the first point. I think I just said that already. But here's the second one. Daniss Jenkins is extremely skilled and very cerebral in his timely plays that are far more than just effort plays. On both sides of the ball, he shows an IQ for the game that allows him to be essential to the functioning and efficiency of our systems. That means our offensive system and our defensive system. Daniss Jenkins isn't just running around with a lot of energy. He's running around definitively, intentionally, seeing the play develop and getting there before it actually comes to be. How many times have we seen Daniss Jenkins sniff out a big man rolling to the rim and he's up for a block shot before he has a chance to even get off his feet? How many times have we seen a post-entry pass, a swinging of the ball, and Daniss Jenkins' feet is already sprinting into that passing lane to either get the deflection or get the steal himself? It is constant that we see Daniss Jenkins making these heads-up plays. And these heads-up plays are not just effort. Please don't misconstrue the timing that it takes to be in the right place, to beat the play there before it develops, to blow it up with just effort. Ron gives a lot of effort, but it's reactionary effort. It's seeing the play in real time and using your athleticism, speed, and effort and motor to be in position and make the plays. And now that he's focused more on moving his feet and playing defense with his feet rather than his hands, Ron is looking great out there. But there's a big difference between someone who is reacting to the play and someone who is seeing it transpire in real time. in getting to the spots, getting to the passing lanes, getting to the shot block, getting to all the spots that it takes to make the play so that we can be able to get an advantage. Daniss Jenkins does that every single time. And then I left this last reason here. Number 3, due to reasons 1 and 2, they have the trust and ability to lead through holding people accountable to match their energy on the court. Though I would say that Daniss is more vocal leadership with his accountability, whereas Stu is modeling constantly the understood expectation. People, you have to understand why it is so imperative that you have people on your roster that actually play the brand of basketball that resembles the coach, the organization, the front office, and what you're trying to create around your superstar. Rarely ever is your superstar going to be the one who exemplifies it. They can't always be all things. Kobe wasn't all things. LeBron wasn't all things. Jokic is not all things. Steph was never all things. KD, etc. I can go down the list. You have to see what is needed to complement your star player, your superstar player for us. And one of those things is energy guys, guys with a high motor. Because Cade oftentimes plays with a low motor. And it's those energy guys who have the high motor that keep him up to pace, up to speed. Now, when I look at what Daniss Jenkins did in that second half, when he kind of got up into Cade and was like, yo, man, hey, you messing up, bro. You messing up. I gave the example of leaving home from the club and you in the passenger seat and your boy said he's good to drive. And as you kind of nodding off or you just, looking out the window, all of a sudden you feel that he starts going over those bumps. And you start looking at him like, you all right? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm good. All right. And he goes over those bumps again. And you like, hey, bro, hey. Because what we're not going to do, we're not going to crash this thing when I can drive. That's how Daniss Jenkins needs to be looking at Cade. 100% like that. Daniss Jenkins needs to be in that passenger seat like, hey, Cade, real talk, I should be the designated driver to close out these games. I should be the designated driver. But it's your car. It's your car. So if you want to drive, by all means, drive. But if you start going over those speed bumps, bro, if you start showing that you cannot drive in a straight line down this lane on the highway at the end of the night to get us home safely, you got to pull over, bro. You got to pull over. And that's what I 100% saw that Daniss Jenkins was able to do against the Miami Heat. If you go back and watch the Hawks game, that's what he did against the Hawks. Daniss Jenkins has been saving us. Without Daniss Jenkins' emergence this season, I think we're probably somewhere around 500. It's probably around 500. And he's on a 2-way contract, right? It's the epitome of Detroit basketball. Pulling it all the way out the mud. I got here to be able to yell at our superstar to close out games for us. Playing at 3-4 different universities, colleges. Coming up through the G League, undrafted. And now I'm one of our most essential players. If that's not Detroit basketball, I don't know what is. B-Ball Paul is real too. I like B-Ball Paul, but he doesn't have as large of a role to have the same level of accountability for guys. Isaiah Stewart and Daniss Jenkins do, or should. I will say this about B-Ball Paul. It would be interesting if by the second half of the season, we don't start looking at him as, could he be somewhat of our solution in terms of our front court in that power forward spot? Maybe not 100% of the time, but could he be? because he moves his feet on defense. He rebounds, defends the rim. Him and Isaiah Stewart are showing the ability to guard on the perimeter while knocking down threes consistently. A little bit of off the ball. And that added that added height and size could be huge for us. Literally and figuratively. But that's something to think about a little bit later. Something I was also thinking about was Isaiah Stewart. Well, I'll put it this way. Daniss Jenkins is to Jaden Ivey, or what Jaden Ivey will be by the time he's in the starting lineup. What Isaiah Stewart is to Jalen Duren. A much higher floor. What he gives you fundamentally, foundationally, it's just at a different level. Even if Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey's ceilings are a lot higher. Which means that how they play with one another is very much so tethered. Right? If Jalen Duren had the motor, IQ, timing, awareness, heart that Stewart has, Jalen Duren would be a superstar. Same with Jaden Ivey. But you can't take the heart and the brain and put it into the body, the physical talent. And it's not to take anything away from them. It's just to say they're two very different players. Right? I can say the same thing. You take Andre Miller's IQ, right, for the game and feel for the game, and you put that in Russell Westbrook. He's probably one of the greatest players of all time. All that's to say is in this team's rotation, I think it's time to make these adjustments. Daniss Jenkins can't go back to 8 minutes. Can't go back to 8, 9 minutes on the fringes because I've been saying for a long time now, we can't have our best defenders at the fringe of our rotation. Remember, outside of Isaiah Stewart and Osara Thompson, the general top 8 of our rotation are not good defenders. We've got Tobias Harris, who's passable. Let's say he's average. He's not making big plays, but he's in the right spot consistently. He communicates. He does all the right things. Duncan Robinson, great hustle, in the right spots, does his best to be in the right place. Great team defender. And you can hunt him. You can literally hunt him. And when I say hunt him on defense, I mean the opposing team can say, if we get this matchup, we will have an advantage. And they will. He just can't stay with people athletically, lengthwise, strengthwise, etc. But he's in the right spots. After that, when you go to the bench, it is a steep drop-off. Ron Holland gives great effort, but he's reacting. He doesn't have the anticipation yet. He doesn't have the reading of the game, slowing down of the game to make the plays before they transpire. But he'll get a loose ball, get into an occasional passing lane when there's a lazy pass. He'll get the rebound, right? Get up the court, things like that. But he's reacting still. He's only in year 2. Karis LeVert is a subpar defender, below average, whose effort gets him to average. Jaden Ivey is a below average defender, whose effort gets him to average. Cade Cunningham is an average at best defender, but his effort gets him to a little bit above average, right? He's going to make some blocks. He's going to get some steals on the ball, moving his feet. He's also going to fall asleep on defense, get beat with the backdoor, get caught reaching instead of moving his feet on ball. Isn't always going to communicate the best. Jalen Duren, well, we've talked about him at length as well. Subpar defender whose effort and intensity gets him to average. Now, I did say the previous game, before this last game, before the Miami Heat game, it was his best showing. It was his best defensive game of the year. He was reading the plays. He was ahead of the game. He was ahead of the plays. He was everything that we could have wanted. When it comes to this game against the Atlanta Hawks, and you all let me know how you feel about this. I think it's time to move Jaden Ivey into the starting lineup. I agree, Savant. I agree. I like that. I like that. I was literally about to make that point. I think it's time to move Jaden Ivey into the starting lineup. He's starting to figure it out timing wise, defensively, which is really the main thing we want him to figure out. And he should be at the point where he can play about 18 minutes a game. That's around 5 minutes a quarter, at least. But what's really important is that his defensive timing is such that he is consistently now getting into a stance, moving his feet, doing the right things, getting around screens, communicating, switching, getting into passing lanes, things like that. And it still allows for Duncan Robinson to maintain having a larger role as Ivy acclimates himself more and more, coming off the bench with Daniss Jenkins. The reason why I like the pairing with Daniss Jenkins is because Daniss Jenkins can run the offensive sets and get Duncan Robinson, Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland, even Javonte Green good looks, consistently good looks. He's going to execute our offense, get us into a flow, hit him coming off the screen right when he's open. He's going to slow us down, speed us up. He's going to make sure that we play with the tempo, but we also execute. And execution is huge for shooters. One thing that shooters hate is a passer who is behind the play. I'm running my ass off, getting off this screen, shoulder, shoulder rubbing, hands ready to go. I come off, I'm open, and then I'm open, kind of open. I finally get the ball. I had 2 shot attempts in the time it took you to recognize that I was open and pass the ball. When you have a point guard who can see the play developing and pass the ball before you even get open, they actually pass you open. So by the time you come off that screen, your hands better be ready because the ball is already on its way. So when you catch, you have maximal time to go into your shot. Bro, it's a thing of beauty. It's why Dirk looks so good playing next to Jason Kidd. It's why Devin Booker had his most success playing with Chris Paul. It's why Stephen Curry had such an amazing career next to Draymond Green. When you are a shooter and you play with a high-level facilitating point guard, you are going to eat. And I think that's an amazing way for us to really bolster our offensive efficiency, especially off the bench. Especially off the bench. Doug McMenamin, yo, I definitely appreciate the comment. Karras is certainly not a bum, but there is a reason to let him play a backup role. I'll say this: with Jaden Ivey back, Karis LeVert's role should shrink because they're too much of the same player, and Ivy just has more potential. I don't think we need Karis as much when it comes to added playmaking, maybe some facilitation. That's not what we need. It's just not. I would rather see Daniss Jenkins playmaking. I would rather see Isaiah Stewart playmaking at the top of the key, looking for passes, catch and shoot, attacking mismatches. I'd almost rather have Javonte Green's disruptive defense. Remember, Javonte Green is a plus defender. A plus defender. Above average. He anticipates, he makes a lot of plays. Defense is our calling card. And if you give me Daniss Jenkins, Javonte Green, and Isaiah Stewart off the three. Sorry, off the bench. Those 3 off the bench. You give me those 3. and then we sandwich Ron Holland and Duncan Robinson. I think we get more than enough offense. I think we get more than enough offense. I have seen Daniss Jenkins repeatedly be in positions to have to make plays, and he's made the plays. I remember one against the Atlanta Hawks. Shot clock's running down. He gets the ball on the wing. He drives a little bit, tries to see if there's something there, prods, pulls it back out, looks at the shot clock, recognizes the shot clock, recognizes it's go time, 5, 6 seconds left on the clock, pulls it out. Cade is over there. He's like, no, I got it. He's got a Muhammad Gay against us. Pulls it out, gives him a little does a little spin, scoops, come underneath, lay with the left. I've seen Daniss Jenkins constantly, when placed in positions where he's had to be the one to make plays, he's made plays. I know Karis LeVert has more clout, history. He's a veteran. He's been doing this for years now. He's more verified. But you can't tell me that he hasn't shown just as much ability. He's hit open threes. He's gotten to the free throw line. He gets all the way downhill to the rim. He's shown he can consistently create his own shot in a little mid-range, little bump, step back. And then when we start talking about defense, well, so when you look at, do we have enough playmaking with that bench unit? Daniss, Duncan Robinson, Javonte Green, Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart. And if I'm honest with you, I would even accept B-Ball Paul playing the 4 with Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland at the 3. I'd accept that. I'm not mad at that. Let me see here. I keep seeing Sasser thrown out there. Ray Floyd. Now Sasser is on his way back. We don't need Karis. I didn't know that Sasser was on his way back. I actually kind of got tired of checking because I was checking all the time. And it was getting a little sad for me. I was like, man, I'm just gonna stop and let my man do what he needs to do, heal up. Let me just quickly check this because my man's saying Marcus Sasser might be back. Marcus Sasser. News. Okay. All right, we got a Marcus Sasser update. We have a Marcus Sasser update. And it says the Pistons provided an update. Marcus Sasser, 30-year guard, been sent to the G League to practice work with the Motor City Cruise. All right. I'm here for it. We got to use our G League more. I'd send him down there with Chaz Zanier and Bobby Clement. Because for sure, Chaz Zanier is nowhere near the rotation unless we have a lot of injuries. Send him down there with Tolu Smith. Ball out. Here's the thing. If you are balling out in the G League, I think it has gotten to a point. And when I say balling out, I mean dominating in the G League. It has gotten to a point where the NBA will recognize you as verified. You're an NBA player. If you're dominating in the G League against NCAA All-Stars, remember, the guys in the G League were the best player on their teams. They were all league, all conference, all defensive. They were guys who everyone looked at and be like, man, he's really good. Is the NBA good? I don't know. But these are the best of the NCAA who don't get drafted. And even then, the G League is replete with a whole bunch of second-round picks, even first-round picks. So it's to say that if you're balling out, if you're dominating, if you're executing, if you're showing the confidence, the skill, the consistent ability to play at a high level in the G League, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's probably better than a second round pick. It's probably at the same level of a fringe, let's say out of the lottery first round pick in terms of your effectiveness to be able to play in the NBA. Now, if you were a lottery pick talent level, probably would have been drafted in the lottery. But some guys have to develop differently. Some guys don't always get the notoriety, they don't have the opportunity, they're not seen. So they got to go through the Portsmouth Invitational, they got to go to the Chicago pre draft camp, and then they got to kind of eke out a career, scratch out a career, uh, grinding, getting up through the mud. But if you get to the G League and you are consistently dominating, you're an NBA player because that's what NBA players would do if they went down to the G League. So I would definitely send Chaz, Bobby, Tolu, and now Marcus Sasser into the G League. Be like, yo, go get it. Go get it. Because even if we don't have a spot for you, other teams will see you. Other teams will see you. They will see your passing and playmaking. They'll see your rebounding. They'll see your shooting. They'll see your interior scoring, Tolu Smith. They will see your ability to make plays off the ball and fit in with great positional size, Bobby Clintman. They'll see your elite playmaking and shot creation, Marcus Sasser. Your high-level three-point shooting, Chaz Anir. So even if you don't get an opportunity with us, at least your game is on display. Especially if you can get to a place where you're getting to the, I think there's like a G League All-Star game. What do they call it? The G League Showcase, which is right around the All-Star break, which is right before the trade deadline ends. So it's to say that you have an opportunity to show out at that point in time. And if you get to the showcase, guaranteed a lot of teams are going to be looking at you and be like, man, could we use that guy? Because if he's dominating down there and he gets to the showcase, oh yeah, I think we could use that. You think about a team like the Memphis Grizzlies, how badly they could use a Daniss Jenkins or a Marcus Sasser. Shoot, you could even go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They could use both. Another lead guard. He's got a strong handle, can get downhill to the rim, break down the defense, make shots, can be a point of attack defender alongside of Anthony Edwards. Phoenix, right? Like a lot of these teams are looking for talent and they're recognizing the G League has it. So we should be using that to our full advantage. Well, I mean, Ray Floyd, Sacramento has Dennis Schroeder, and they got Russell Westbrook. I don't think that the Sacramento Kings issue is point guard play. The Sacramento Kings issue is defense and toughness and grit and what Detroit basketball is. And I think they just have too many guys who are not of that ilk, and they're not playing enough of the guys on that roster who are. All right, they're not playing the first round draft pick from this year. They're not playing. Uh, I'll even pull up the roster because there's a few guys on that roster that I'm like should be getting major minutes. Should be getting major minutes. And I'm gonna get back to the Detroit talk in a second. Pull this up. So they're starting guys like Zach LaVine, who's not tough, doesn't play defense, not a lot of heart, um, low motor. They got DeMar DeRozan. I think he's got a lot of heart. Doesn't always have the motor. He's 36 years old though, so you can't really expect a lot. It's not going to defend at a high level, etc. Malik Monk, he's got a lot of heart, not a lot of defense, not a lot of toughness. And they're playing Russell Westbrook, guys like that. Now they do have other guys on this team who do have toughness, like Domantas Sabonis, but he's not a defender. You got Dennis Schroeder, who's a dog. I like him. Keegan Murray, I like him. Devin Carter, I like him. Neek Clifford, who they drafted, I like him. Keon Ellis, I like him. But you see, you kind of have a bit of a logjam at guard, especially when you throw in Russell Westbrook. I think what they need to do is move Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan to that 3-4 position, especially DeMar DeRozan, who could play some power forward. Put Zach Levine at the three. Get you a Keon Ellis or Neat Clifford at the two. Right. And then they'd have that toughness, that physicality, that defensive mindedness in the backcourt. You combine that with Keegan Murray, who defends. I like Precious Achua off the bench. That was a great pickup for them. Um, even like Drew Eubanks. They have enough toughness, but also keep in mind Sacramento's had one of the tougher schedules in the NBA. So I don't think that they're as bad as their record. The answers for them are really already on that team. Now let me back to this team. As we face the Atlanta Hawks tonight, we have to have a heavy dosage of Daniss Jenkins because the length that the Atlanta Hawks can present against us is going to be tremendous, which means that Cade Cunningham, you can't be loose with the ball, but we know he will be at times. You know, you can't really over dribble against them because they have great on ball defenders and team defenders. When you have a lineup of Nickeil Alexander Walker, Dyson Daniels, already alone, that's the best defensive backcourt in the NBA. Positional size, speed, athleticism, length, quickness, smarts, defensive IQ, and they play off of each other. Yeah, Daniels is a monster. So you have those two. But then you go Zachary Risachet and Jalen Johnson. Two excellent team defenders who are going to see the game, have really good length, athleticism, can get in those passing lanes, and get out in transition. Their Achilles heel is probably Onyeka Kongwu. He's physical. He rebounds. He'll even defend the rim a little bit, but he's small. He's like Isaiah Stewart small. It's like 6'8", 6'9", at the most. Jalen Duren should be able to beast out against him. And against the Hawks before, we established Jalen Duren early. But if I look back, it was a lot of Daniss Jenkins getting him the ball. And if you go watch that game again, pull it up on League Pass. Cade Cunningham probably had about 2 or 3 turnovers in that first quarter alone, that were saved because we were able to come up with the ball. It would get deflected, it would get knocked away, but we would come up with the ball. If Cade comes out sloppy again against the Atlanta Hawks, they will run it up against us. They will run it up against us. They will get a lot of steals, get out in transition, score really easily, and put the pressure back on us to execute in the half court, which we all know is a downhill kind of spiral, snowballing, because we're not really a half court offensive team. We don't have the chemistry yet. We're still getting to know ourselves and one another. That's not who we are. But if we can turn them over, if we can get out in transition, if we can score and put the onus on them to execute in the half court, because they're not really a half court executing team either, it's going to be a tough night for Atlanta. The key will be, how do we make sure that Duren is a major part of this team early on? Ray Floyd, I want Pascal at the 4. I really think his archetype is the missing piece. I think Pascal Siakam is a missing piece for a lot of teams at the 4. For a lot of teams at the 4. You could say Philly. You could say Sacramento. You could say, Detroit. There's a whole lot of teams who would be great with Pascal Siakam at the 4. But at the same time, we got Uncle T. We got Uncle T. Still want to see what Bobby Clement becomes. There's no rush. And with that contract, I don't think we're in a win now mode right now. So I'm okay with waiting. But I digress. We're going to need a heavy helping of Jalen Duren in this game. Establishing him early on is going to help out majorly in terms of sucking in the defense and creating openings on the perimeter. But something that I need us to figure out is how to really activate Jalen Duren, because I keep saying he should be averaging over 15 shot attempts a game. That's just about 4 shot attempts per quarter. If Jalen Duren is getting 4 shot attempts a quarter, he's getting to the free throw line at least 8 to 10 times. He's getting to the free throw line 8 to 10 times, shooting about 70 to 80%. You add those 7 to 8 points on top of, at least, if he's shooting 15 times, he's going to make about at least 9 to 10 field goals. That's just what he does. If we can activate him, That creates a secondary scoring hub on this team that is going to alleviate a lot of pressure from Cade Cunningham. And this is another reason why Daniss Jenkins is so important because he's probably the only one who knows how to make a solid post entry pass. Solid ball fake, wrap around. Ball fake, wrap around. Ball fake away from the post, shift the defense, then come back to him, ball fake, step through, wrap around. These are the fundamentals that you learn in college when you're not the man, when you're not the guy, when you're not told all you got to do is score. You have to learn these fundamentals. Daniss Jenkins is probably the only one on the team who has them to make those post entry passes. I think Marcus Sasser will a little bit too. But too many times I see us trying to get the ball into Jalen Duren from the post, in the post from the wing, and we just can't seem to get the ball in there. Now I know some of it is Jalen Duren needs to come to the ball and needs to learn how to seal better. He should be looking over at Uncle T, watching his footwork in the post to be able to set up his opportunities, right? Because the one thing that if you ever watch Tobias Harris, he does a lot of his work before the wing player even gets the ball. He knows it's getting rotated from the top to the wing. He starts pushing his man into the paint. So by the time he gets to the wing and he comes to the ball, he's still right there at the block. Then he makes sure he's always coming to the ball, grabbing it and securing it with both hands, knowing it's going to get slapped at. So he keeps the ball out and away from his defender, peeks over his shoulder to freeze that help defender, peeks over the shoulder, ball fake, freeze the help defender. He notices where his kickouts are going to be. He looks back at the top, freezes that top defender, ball fake. He's one dribble, two at the most, step through, low, rip through, under, shooting right over the top. It's basic. It's basic, but it's a lot of little things that he's learned to do at a high level. That's why he's Tobias Harris. That's why he was a first-round draft pick out of Tennessee. That's why he's had a long career. That's why he's starting for us at 33 years of age. And he said Jalen Johnson played 40 minutes against us. He did. Do I think that they're better without Trae Young? No. 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 They just need to figure out a way to get some more buy-in. Got to get some more buy-in when it comes to Trae Young. You got to be able to get him to play a style that's a little bit different. I think he has a great pairing with Dyson Daniels. I think where he shows up the most is during crunch time when you need to execute in the half court. Trae Young is one of those guys who will make sure you consistently get a good look. They don't have another guy on that team who can do that. They rely upon turning you over, getting out in transition. And then it becomes kind of a Nickeil Alexander-Walker, go make something happen in the crunch time. Because he's better at that than Jalen Johnson. He's more of a secondary, tertiary scorer. All this to say is I do think that they have something in this roster unit, but Trae Young is still sorely needed, especially playing against better teams. Now, last game when we played the Atlanta Hawks, Tobias Harris wasn't there. Neither was Jaden Ivey. And I don't think Karis LeVert played either. I think this time around, one, playing Jaden Ivey in the starting unit, which I would love to see. I don't know if we see it yet, but I would love to see it. Gives us more speed in transition. Make sure that we kind of get out there with a lot of energy. And he's also has more gravity. Even though Duncan Robinson has his own gravity as a shooter, Jaden Ivey is still able to attract a lot of attention because of his speed. So when he's moving out on the court, especially once he gets the ball, if you don't close out hard on him, he can shoot it right over the top. He's got great range. And if you do close out too hard, he's able to blow by you. So really, it creates an onus on the defense to have to stick to him because you don't want to do either. You don't want to be closing out hard on Ivy when the ball is swinging to him. So I would like to start Ivy, but I think he adds a ripple of offense that this team could use to get easy looks. But I would say that bringing Tobias Harris back, then Jaden Ivey to this rotation against the Hawks, it'll give us a little bit more depth in the front court because Isaiah Stewart struggled with Jalen Johnson Struggle to keep him from shooting open threes, closing out, getting to the rim. Oh wow, that is a great point, Doug. That is a great point, Doug. I love my chat. I love my chat. Speaking of chat, smash the like button for me. Only got 16 likes, 31 people in here. Um, I really appreciate it. Remember, it's a small thing for you, big thing for the channel. Pistons had only 12 turnovers in that game against the Hawks, and the Pistons had 12 steals. That is an amazing point. Keep in mind, Daniss Jenkins played 30 minutes. Think there might be a reason. There might be a reason why we only had 12 turnovers in that game. Ball security, consistency, right? There was a buy-in by Cade, not to be ball dominant, not to be heliocentric, not to always be on the ball, passing it up ahead, especially against a guy like Dyson Daniels and Akil Alexander Walker. If Cade tries to bring it up every time against them, he's literally playing into their hands. If I'm Atlanta, you know what I would do? I would stick Nikhil on Cade or Dyson and have the other on Asar. And I would force either Duncan Robinson or Jalen Duren to initiate offense. That's what I would do. Which is why Jaden Ivey would be huge for us in this game, or Daniss Jenkins. But I would do that because both of them are really good on-ball defenders. And if anything, that Boston has shown that when you have two really strong on-ball defenders playing Detroit's main two ball handlers, bringing it up, it really drags our offense, especially in transition. So there's an opportunity there for them. But look, I gotta get on to work. Um, I'm really interested in this game. I will be on afterward. I'm excited. I think I want to see what Ivy continues to progress into. He's been playing his best basketball as of late. The last game, he actually was really solid on defense, knocking down shots, playing with a lot of confidence. He's in the right places and spaces. He's finding his rhythm. I think the more that happens, the bigger of games that he's going to have. So I'm always looking forward to that. More minutes for Daniss Jenkins within this current rendition of this roster. I think it just makes more sense. And then Tobias Harris being able to contain Jalen Johnson a little bit better, I think is really going to help us out as well. Let's see if Jalen Duren coming back from a game off that he can establish himself and play with a lot of energy. This is going to be a tough stretch. This next 6 games, I want to say I pulled it up on here. Let me see. Yep, Detroit Pistons schedule. The Detroit Pistons have a really tough stretch. We got the Hawks tonight, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. Then on Wednesday, 2 days from now, we got the Bucks with Giannis. Then we've got the Trailblazers, who've been playing really well. 2 days later. Then on a back-to-back, we got the Bucks again. And then after that, we have the Hawks again. Now we get a big break between the Bucks and the Hawks. Almost 5 days. Well, yeah, 5 days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we play on a Friday. And then we've got the Celtics the following Monday. This stretch, these 6 games, Hawks, Bucks, Blazers, Bucks, Hawks, and the Celtics. If we come out of this stretch 4-2, 5-1, 6-0, I'm going to start looking at this team like, I mean, I dare say it, a contender. And when I say a contender, I mean someone who can legitimately come out of the East. Legitimately come out of the East. But we'll see. One game at a time. One game at a time. We got the Hawks tonight. Make sure you smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Leave me with the word of the day. You know, be easy, my boy. Be easy. Life is real, and it be lifing sometimes. Take a deep breath. Smell the roses. Take a walk. Get some fresh air. One of the things that I've there's this line out of this book where they say the things many times that matter at the end of life, many times have the least amount of value in the moment. The things that have the most value in the moment, many times at the end of life, have the least amount of value. Sometimes we got to take a deep breath, smell the roses, take a walk, and really make sure that we stay grounded in the things that really matter to us, not the little things, not the little things that can piss us off and frustrate us and disappoint us and make us discouraged and all these different things. It's important that we not lose sight of what life is really about, and that's relationships. That's the people around us. That's our loved ones. That's our kids. That's our partners, spouses, families, communities. That's our earth. That's our trees and our fresh air and our health, our happiness, our wellness. These things are things that really matter, yo. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, you're not going to say, oh, I'm really glad I put in that overtime. I'm really glad I stayed up late stressing about this. I'm really glad that I ruminated and was stressed out, all day, getting to figure out this thing in life. It's not what you're going to do. You're going to be grateful for the moments, the memories. Right? I saw this one couple. They had this uh, thing where they said their their definition of success in their marriage was moments and memories that they would enjoy and could hang on to. Success. No, they said wealth. Wealth are the memories that they build in their marriage. And I was like, whoa, that's a crazy reframe. That we're rich, we're wealthy because of the memories that we're forming. So look, go out today, enjoy your day, make some memories with your kids, your loved ones, even if you got to miss a little bit of the game, right? Even if you're a little bit late coming to one of my lives, right? Uh, make memories. Enjoy the moments. They don't always have to be extravagant. Go laugh with your kid. Give them some eye to eye contact or your loved one. Go take a walk, right? Talk about something genuine. Teach your kids something. Go to a basketball court. Make memories because that's real riches. That's real wealth. So have an amazing day. I'm gonna start mine as well. Well, I've been started, but I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna see y'all this evening. Peace.